Well, hello and welcome to Yellow Flag FPL, the podcast where all of our opinions should be yellow flagged. My name is Harry.
And I'm Stephen Berry.
And it's been quite a good week, I would suggest, for most players, the average being pretty high, but some really shocking and interesting results throughout the league. But before we crack onto those, Stephen, how did you do this week? You follow
Awful.
the meme, or you?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
when the rest of the world does well, you do
no. I
terribly.
got 68 points, but you said everyone else did well. 68 points is terrible. 68 points is normally a good week, but it's also compounded by that triple captain. Triple captain Saka, again, a complete bottling. We spoke about this beforehand. We were talking about captaining Gabriel. I completely bottled that. That would have been 36 points versus 9. I bottled Munoz on my bench as well. I don't know why. This is very much the season of clean sheets. So 50% of the games this game week had a clean sheet. I even said going 5 at the back, but I bottled that anyway and started Salah. Only a 3-point difference, so not as painful as that. But it was just more compounding how much I bottled it, basically. It didn't help that
Yeah,
Haaland also got a brace,
went off. Yeah,
another 13 points for him.
yeah.
He was also another triple captain option. I didn't even consider. My backup was Voldemar, who got 1 point. So at least it could have been worse, I suppose.
Mm.
So no, terrible. Red arrow. Put triple captaincy lost. I'm absolutely gutted. Xhaka only saving grace, getting 10 points on Monday. That's the only thing that's sort of made it somewhat respectable. But no, terrible. Absolutely terrible. I have no other way of putting it.
So it's terrible for you because you got the triple captaincy wrong, not because you didn't get a decent score.
Correct. Yeah, it's terrible in
Right.
context. And also, it's a red arrow. So,
Yeah, true. Okay, cool. Well, I also captain Saka. I didn't hit the triple captain button. I've still got that in reserve. I did advise people to captain Gabriel, some friends in other leagues, and they did, and obviously got a lovely 24 points for them. I finished on 74, which has taken me up to 1.3 million. So pretty happy about that, to be honest. I captained Saka, like I said, so obviously Haaland going off, that was a bit painful. But my main points came from the defence, really. So I got Gabriel, Gahey, and Casado, all with double-digit point scores. Pope, I thought would be an easy 6 to 7 pointer. He made 7 saves in the game against West Ham, and came up with the 3 points in the end. And Reece James with a 7 pointer against my team. So yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed week. If I got the captaincy right, I think I probably would be flying much further up. Although I was never really considering captaining Haaland, I probably would have gone Gabriel. Um, but yeah, it just shows that our view last week of the robot malfunctioning was literally just that, just a small
yeah.
malfunction, and he's back to where he was. Um, I guess it begs the questions which we can come on to is, he's got Liverpool at home next. Saka's got Sunderland away. I think it's a really, really difficult decision, which one you go for there. But Stephen, do you want to talk about the first game
Yeah.
as
Well,
we
well,
kind of go
you've
through the
you've teed
week?
off two there, so I guess we'll do Man City Bournemouth. So I think the reason why it is potentially difficult. So on the one hand, I guess okay, let's put it this way: how are Liverpool going to approach that game? I guess is the question you need to
Mm.
ask yourself. Is it at the Etihad or is it at Anfield? Sorry.
If the game's at the Etihad, so it's Haaland at home. He's got a great record at home. Um, I don't know how Slot approaches the game really.
I mean, I guess he can afford to go there and park the bus. He's only really done that one game so far this season, which was at Anfield at home to Arsenal. But then even when Arsenal, they realised weren't really doing anything, did come out a little bit. So I don't know. I don't think he can completely park the bus though. And if you look at, well, I mean, just to talk about Man City Bournemouth, the reason why I mean it was clear to all to see. Bournemouth, fair play to them, went for it. It really looked
Yeah,
like it really looked like if Bournemouth were at home, but vice versa. And then obviously Man City, credit where credit was due, were great on the counter attack. So are Liverpool going to play that same way again? I think it is a little bit of a difficult one. I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to work out. Do you see this as when this game where he malfunctioned? Who did he play in game night? It was Villa, right? Are Liverpool going to play like Villa, lower block? In which case, Haaland doesn't struggle because I mean, he's the only player I've ever seen who can really just be. You just aim the ball at him, he'll just go. He'll press players down and just nod it in. So he's always got that in him. But fundamentally, he did well in this game because Bournemouth went for it. I don't think Liverpool are going to do as well. Man City are at home. Hmm. I would still go for Haaland though, just because Saka. I mean, maybe I'm biased because I had a triple captaincy on him. He had a shocker against Burnley. Missed a big chance. Should have done more. Was actually quite poor in that game. People are saying that, oh, he's been poor for a while. I think that's a bit unfair. He hasn't
Yeah,
he
yeah,
hasn't been at his very best, granted, but I don't think he's been poor either. But yeah, quickly on Man City, Bournemouth. As I said, Bournemouth went for it, but really got punished. Didn't really have any big chances apart from one. Man City were a lot more clinical. Their actually was much higher. Haaland did what he did. Okay, fair enough. Bournemouth maybe have scuffed a few chances. I can't remember who it was from them. Who did the big scuff for them? Was it Kruppier? I think it was. He scuffed. It was a tap in air.
yeah.
It was Kruppier, yeah. Semenyo had a poor game, so I'm still very positive on Bournemouth. I think obviously everyone has Semenyo. Kruppier started
Mm,
again. I don't know. Evan Nielsen came on though in the 62nd minute, so it'd be interesting to see who starts next. If Kruppier starts the
yeah.
next game, does he become a must because he's so cheap at 4.5 million?
I think it'd be really harsh for for Crippier to lose his slot because he
Mm.
scored a hatful of goals. He's then obviously come off in this game on the 62nd. Emma Nielsen's come on. If he loses his place because of his performance away at Man City, that's really harsh. But then again, do you start the veteran who, as you said before, hasn't been ripping up trees? He really
No.
hasn't. Maybe you rotate them. Maybe Evan Nielsen starts in the bigger games, and maybe Krippier starts in the sort of more I want to say easier games, but there's no easy game in the Premier League, of course. So yeah, I would be surprised if he lost his place completely. Is what I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's see. I think if he does start, I mean, I'm still confident with my front three of Haaland, Voldemar, then of course the big man Mateta. But
Mm,
I don't know. I think you're going to talk about Newcastle, West Ham. They've been shit away from home. They're really bad away from home for a long time actually, and that is a concern. You're like, I'm paying seven whatever it is million for a guy who only performs at 50% of the games. It's a bit worrying. Whereas at least Bournemouth are going to go for it. If they're going to go for it at the Etihad,
mm.
why they're not going to go? They're going to go for it everywhere. Maybe even at the Emirates. So
Yeah,
that as
I
well.
I wouldn't be worried about Bournemouth. I think they'll bounce
No, no,
back. Man City are a good team. Obviously Haaland does what he does, and at home, I think, like I said, it begs the question about the captaincy for next game week. Also, would be interesting to note that Shirky started this game, got 2 assists, 2 bonus, played as the 10, I think, as well. So, and he's about 6 million. I know we said last week, look, no other Man City players really interest us. But if you did have a 6.3 million, if you did have a 6 point something, slot, I would be tempted. I'd probably wait for the next 2 fixtures to clear of Liverpool at home and Newcastle away. But then after that, it's a pretty nice. I mean, wow,
I'm
they
not
don't
tempted.
have.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Uh,
I still don't. I mean, in terms of bandwagon chasing, Foden, no. Cherokee, no. If we're bandwagon chasing, which there's a player I did want to talk about, and that's actually O'Reilly. So he basically started every week by and large.
he
He's
has,
not,
yeah.
yeah, he's played Pep standards. He's started 7 out of 10 games. The first game he didn't get any
Hmm.
minutes. Maybe he was injured for that. So maybe it's more fair to say 7 out of 9. I'm not sure. So if we're talking bandwagon, he's the top scoring Man City player.
In defense, yeah.
He's on defense. The problem is that he currently has half of Gabriel's points, and he's 5 million. So you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Why would you go for him over Gahey or even Van der Ven? If Van der Ven had that one thing or a centre side, probably not. But you're saying that Man City have a good run, then at 4.9 million, he comes onto the equation. He seems to have
Yeah.
secured his place.
Yeah, I think so. And I think also it's worth mentioning that Reinders was on the bench and he's taken 2 price falls as well.
Yeah,
I'm assuming we're saying a sell for him right now.
I think everyone already has, hasn't he? Is he on 5.4 now, or is he
No,
managed?
he's 5.5 because he
Okay,
went up and then he's gone down again. I
okay,
mean, he's still 22% owned. So I think, and he's had 5 blanks in a row. I mean, that's
yeah.
difficult to really ignore. Um, So yeah, I think Rangers is a sell. I think it's worth looking at some other midfielders in Man City. Just keep an eye on them. I've added Cherky to my watch list, and I think if he starts to get that place nailed down, I would be tempted. And we've got cash, sloshing around everywhere. Kudus has had a couple of blanks. I'd be tempted to move him on as well. So, and also Spurs don't have the best fixtures. So I think there's some interesting swaps that you could make. I wouldn't rule it out. And given the fact we do have a bit more cash around, I think it's worth a look.
Do you want to quickly touch upon Spurs Chelsea then, very quickly?
Do I have to? Do I have to, Stephen?
I mean,
I really don't want to
I
talk
actually
about
missed
it.
the game. How bad were? I mean, I know it was the worst
I
XG since they've moved to the new stadium or something like that. I can't remember. It was something bad. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, I chat GPT'd this and I to get the XG, and it said there was no sources from free resources
Right.
for their XG in open play.
Right. Okay.
It's insane. Yeah, it was. I mean, so context to this, my memory is a bit hazy because I'd watched the rugby before, and so I was several Guinnesses deep, and making friends with some lovely Newcastle fans, which I'll talk about later. Um, and yeah, the game was pretty dull. They scored on a defensive error for Mickey, which is really, really rare. So I'm not holding that against him at all because Casado nicked the ball off his feet and then he was on the edge of our box. He squares it to João Pedro. João Pedro finishes the job. But it's worth saying that Chelsea had a lot of chances in this game. Their XG was about 3. So
Three
really, it
point
could have been.
six nine, six big
Yeah,
chances, 9 shots on target.
yeah, exactly. And also I shared this with you before, but João Pedro having 5 shots on target, 3 big chances, just after I sell him as well, the absolute prick.
But hold on, I
Um
know you said your memory's a bit hazy, but I mean, okay, one team's battering the other one, but surely Chelsea. I mean, again, I didn't watch it, but it sounds like Chelsea were all over them. It must have been good to watch as a neutral, if you like, in that regard, or not really.
no, I think so what happened was they had lots of big chances, but generally speaking throughout the game, not a lot really happened. Like as in it would be like key moment, flashpoint, great
Right.
chance, and then back to sort of yeah, really tepid play, pass around the back, try to make breaks. Both it was almost like watching a game of chess, but then suddenly for some reason the chessboard catches fire every 10 minutes. So like it was not a classic. I also saw this morning and I've got so angry about this, right? So prepare yourself. But Jamie Carragher saying that Paulinia's not good enough. I was ready to throw my phone across the room. That is the biggest load of shit I've ever seen from him. Now he does have his moments, where he comes up with these absolutely horrendous takes. But to say that Paulinho was the reason why we lost that game, it is ridiculous. We lost that game on a defensive error from the back. There's really nothing more to say about that. I was really regretting owning 3 Chelsea last week. I think owning 2 is fine. I think if you have a Spurs player like a Paulinho, like a Kudus, it's probably hold, wait and see. Got Man United at home next, who aren't the best, and we do have a good record against them at home. So to be honest, this game has not changed my opinion from an FPL standpoint. But Jamie Carragher, if you're listening to this, the very rare moment that you are an absolute fucklwit for that comment. An absolute fuckwit. And you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. Like Polinia is I say oh, I nearly went there, but I want to say this. I think Polinia has been behind Declan Rice and maybe Casado the best CDM in the league this season.
I
I'm
mean,
going to say that.
but again, how far behind? So
Well,
this,
no, I'm
for
I'm
example,
ranking them.
in a marathon, you could come first and second with a time of 2 hours 15, and then the
Uh,
person coming third could be 4 hours. If you're saying third in that regard, fine. I don't mind him being third with a huge gulf between Rice and Casado,
well,
because considering
okay.
considering
So
Rodri's been injured most of the
what I'll do
season.
what I'll do is after this, I will look up the stats. I'll put a graphic out, and we'll do a vote on the Instagram page of the 3, and I'll put
Hmm.
them out there. I'm pretty sure. I mean, obviously, the unfairity of it all is that Rodri has not been fit, and so probably would be in the mix if he
I
was.
would say
Um,
he's competing with Lerma at Palace, Gravenberg at Liverpool.
My God, do you
Xhaka.
want to bait Man City fans more?
Xhaka. No. Rodri's been injured. Like Rodri's been injured. Like
Yeah.
this season, obviously. I'm not insulting Rodri. He's been injured, so like, he hasn't played enough. So I'm talking about just specifically this season. Given Rodri hasn't played enough, so Rodri's just not in the conversation this season. Just because simply he's been injured, hasn't played enough.
Hmm.
I'm just saying
Hmm.
this season. I'm saying Palina's competition is Casillas and Rice or wherever. I would say it's Xhaka. Who else
Yeah,
did I
Xhaka's
say?
up there. Yeah.
Gravenberch and then Lamina at Palace. I would say those are the people he's competing with, and
Um,
maybe Tyler Adams at Bournemouth, but probably not him.
in FPL terms, it's the ranking would be Rice, Casado, Gravenberch. Should we put him in that same Xhaka, Paulinho?
But you're just trying to say who's third, though. I mean, Rice and Casado just
Because
did right.
I think overall play, like in terms of what we needed in that midfield, it's not just FPL for this in this opinion, I suppose. But anyway, the point is, JB Carragher do one.
Okay. To get back
So
to FPL then, so I mean, so I don't have any Chelsea players. I still can't really work out Chelsea. I can't really work out Spurs either, which is part of the reason why
no,
I've avoided these guys. But would you be? I mean, again, if you just look at it from a purely stats perspective, you would think, oh, you've got to go for
mm,
Chelsea. They've dominated at 3 point line, as they like to call it.
mm,
But you're saying no, not really.
why do you have to say that? Honestly, well, look. So I would say if you haven't wildcarded and you were wildcarding in game week 13, let's say, I think it's worth an invest in Chelsea because they've got Wolves at home and Burnley away next two. But then they go into a pretty tricky run of Arsenal at home, Leeds away, Bournemouth away, Everton at home, Newcastle away. So I'd probably be looking to move on my Chelsea assets by that point. For
Yeah,
Spurs, I would say if you have, you're holding. But really, their fixtures over the next couple of weeks and over the Christmas period is really tricky. Kudus is on watch for me. I will probably keep him for the Man United game at home. But I might be free hitting in this week, so that's different. But then we've got
yeah,
Arsenal away, which we'll probably lose. Fulham at home, Newcastle away, Brentford at home, Forest away, Liverpool at home. That's a really difficult run. So I think Spurs assets are a sell. Chelsea assets are a hold if you have. Invest if you're going to wildcard relatively soon.
yeah. Spurs have a
As a
slightly better
sell.
run than Chelsea, but you're right. Actually, Chelsea after they play Burnley, it's all the way up until
Difficult.
game week 20. It's pretty bad actually. So their next good
Yeah.
game comes Fulham. I mean, it's I guess West London. Fulham always play well in that game. Right. Yeah. So basically, after Burnley, it's until game week 22 until you would say Chelsea's
Yeah.
fixture turns actually.
I
So yeah, just for that alone,
yeah.
probably you want to avoid.
I probably will sell James before that game week 13 game. But I
Okay.
probably will keep Casado for longer because I've got value stuck in him, number one. But number two, even in difficult games, he's going to get DEFCON. So, fine.
Okay. Fair
Cool.
enough.
So let's move on. Do you want to talk about
Mm.
Arsenal? You've mentioned them a few times already. You've
No,
done an
no.
Alan Shearer.
I'll just quickly mention Arsenal again. Another routine, whatever you want to call it, academic performance where just completely dominated Burnley. I'm giving Saka a few more bites of the cherry. He's got Sunderland away, Tottenham at home, Chelsea next. 3 games. I think they're all going to go for it a little bit. I don't think Sunderland are going to completely. Maybe. I don't know. I can Saka basically. If Saka's not doing more, he had 2 good chances against Burnley. If he doesn't do anything in those 2 games, he's gone because Brentford, Villa, Wolves, Everton are all going to park the bus basically, and then we have that weird game when we play Palace in the Carabao Cup. No idea, and we have Europe,
Yeah.
and we have injuries, so I don't actually
Yeah.
know. It's going to be interesting. I think we're probably going to have to let the Carabao Cup go. To be honest with you, Palace are definitely going to go for that. I mean, as they should. Um, so I think eventually, I think Saka's Madueke's on the route back as well. So I think his minutes are at risk. But yeah, no, I was right originally. Just triple Arsenal defense. The fullbacks and Gabriel set, forget, move, and just have that to the end of the season. They're still. I mean,
Mm.
Gabriel's now at 6.6 million. I think he could go away to 8, and he's probably worth it. So yeah, just quick. I just want to talk about them very quickly. Arsenal, get triple Arsenal defense. I'll be doing that soon. And then just yeah, that's it. When we march on, as Man City did us a favour in
Yeah.
defeating our main title rivals.
What Bournemouth? Brilliant. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on
And
before
thank
you
you Everton
bait
as
any
well for
more.
holding. And thank you Everton as well for denting our third title rivals. Thank you.
you're gonna. It's November and you're already being an arse about this about the league. I hate it.
Do Arsenal fans not deserve this? I'm sorry, of all the years of suffering.
No, they don't. No, sorry. Okay, no, we'll stop there. So yes, you want to talk about Liverpool? Seemed like a pretty impressive win. Aston Villa at home. It's a banana skin for most teams.
No. This was not. Again, the reason I want to talk about this is, again, Villa are still not good. Villa are still not good. What was quite interesting in this game was that we had
pretty good run.
Not really. I mean, what was quite interesting in this game was that we had the best goalkeeper in the world, or the best centre back in the world on the pitch, and the best goalkeeper in the world. You remember the goal that Leeds gave to Aris? Sorry, West Ham gave to Aris, where they basically just passed on the ball in front of an open goal. Martinez did that as well, which is interesting. It's funny how the best goalkeeper
Salah,
in the world, yeah, best goalkeeper in the world did that. Why do I want to bring that up? One, because Martinez is not the best goalkeeper in the world. If you think that, you're a moron, and never has been. Two, obviously Salah's now got 2 in 2. People are thinking, oh, is he back? Is he going to play somebody of Martinez's quality every week? No. Is somebody going to roll the ball to him every week? No. I think Salah is still, even with his 2 goals and 2, is still very much in a void. Liverpool's run is Man City away. They then have Forest at home and West Ham away, so that is tempting. But I still don't understand why. I personally, my PL team, I haven't got Gapco in yet. Like he started again. He didn't get anything in that game, but he looked lively. He looked pretty good. And again, he's just much cheaper than Salah. I don't know why I haven't got him in yet, to be honest with you. I think probably because I went for Saka because my heart ruled head there. But if Saka doesn't start turning it around, I think him to Gapco will be happening very soon, and they can get in a third Arsenal defender. But fundamentally, he's the only Liverpool player I would consider, to be honest with you. Konate got 8 points. I can't remember. I think he got some Defcons in there as well. I can't remember the top of my head. So again, for his price, maybe you look at him, but I don't think Liverpool are going to keep clean sheets. Maybe when Alisson comes back, you can consider it. But fundamentally, Villa were poor. Villa were really, really poor. That Gesond guy for them was really, really bad. And I think if Villa had tried a bit more and got an earlier goal, I think Liverpool would have folded there. So don't give Liverpool players apart from Gakpo, and don't give any Villa players. Is the short answer.
Well, it's interesting because Robertson started this game. I think someone said
it's true.
One of the forums I was following that they basically just played the team from last season. And then it worked. I mean, Gravenberch got a goal. He got 3 bonus actually in this game, which is pretty impressive. Robertson got some bonus as well. Salah got bonus.
Robbo, to be fair, played very, very well. Robbo played very, very well.
Robbo's a solid player. I think he would be, if he starts to go on a run in the team, I'd be interested, but obviously not this week because he's got the mighty trip to the Etihad. I think you're being a little harsh on Martinez, but I'm going to leave that alone and just clip it up and then just let you get abused.
Does he not roll the ball to Salah? Like open goals.
He does roll the ball to Salah. That is true. That is true. But goalkeepers make mistakes. And it doesn't just, I'm sure Buffon has made mistakes. I'm sure lots of amazing goalkeepers make mistakes. Doesn't mean that they should be judged. But Martinez has won the World Cup, so come on. Anyway, so
again, you can go through loads of players who won World Cups, and I think Pascal Sigan has a World Cup. I think he won the World Cup he got to the final. He was in the squad for France. But either way, I can go. You can just type in players who won the World Cup. I guarantee you, that means nothing.
Okay, fine. So my question to you then is: you mentioned it already. Salah scored 2. This goal was obviously given to him, I suppose, to a certain extent, but he still want to finish it. At what point should we be worried that Salah is back? If he scores against Man City,
not now. I mean, who was it? I think his goal he got the other week was a real gem. He's not going to do that every week. He's not going to be throwing the ball in an open goal every week. And again, I don't really understand why people think Liverpool played well. They were fine. But this was very much Villa were bad. Villa were really, really bad. They should have gone from the more sort of reminiscent actually at Arsenal when they played them there. There was a bit of fear and but I think the difference between Arsenal and Villa is that Arsenal should have taken up a second gear, whereas Villa just didn't seem to have that. Watkins was bad. They were just really, really poor that day. McGinn is still playing on the wing. I like McGinn. John McGinn. He must be full named at all times. Never McGinn. John McGinn is a great player as a DM. he is not a winger. I still don't understand why he's
No,
there.
no. I don't know why he doesn't play Milan out there. Milan
I
is a
don't know
winger,
either.
and he can sit out there, no worries. He's
I,
quick. He burns people. He burned people in the Burnley game. Why can't they put him out there?
I don't think any Villa fan can answer that question. I think if you ask every single Villa fan, they would be saying the same thing. But
Yeah,
no. I'm not panicked about Liverpool. Again, I like Gakpo. Supposed plays the 10 again,
yeah,
but
me too.
still not really. But yeah, I'm Ekatike. And Ekatike, it's quite weird actually. The second he earns his place back, or Isaac loses his place, he's not great again.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm still no on Liverpool players. I don't want to have any Liverpool players apart from Gakpo. He will be in my team sooner rather than later. Everyone else on that team, no, not for me.
Cool. Cool. Well, I think we'll be watching. Most people will be watching Salah with eager interest because I think if he does bang against Man City, he's going to go into a lot of teams, and you know that. So, and that's where it becomes difficult to get him in because obviously
Yeah,
people have
he's too
invested
expensive. Yeah.
elsewhere. And he's too expensive. Yeah. So, but yeah, we will watch and we will wait. So, let's talk about the Newcastle West Ham game. Probably, in fact, undoubtedly, the shock of the weekend.
Yeah.
So, when I was watching the Chelsea Spurs game, I made friends with a couple of Geordie lads in the pub I was in, and I'm going to give them a shout out to David and James. Hopefully, they're listening to the pod. I got them to follow the pod on Instagram whilst very drunk,
Yeah.
so I'll DM this to them
Good
afterwards.
marketing. I appreciate that.
But yeah, well, I always mark it. But James said to me, mark my words, we're going to lose the game tomorrow by 2 goals," and
Okay.
he bang on. And I couldn't believe it really. I was walking around the golf course, following the score. They scored first, Jacob Murphy, and I thought, oh well, West Ham will fold now. This could be 3-0. Unbelievable, right? But actually, when I watched the highlights, the thing about West Ham is when they get their tails up, and when I'm not the stadium's rubbish, but when their fans get their tail up, right, it is quite a horrible place to play football. And I've seen it live as a Spurs fan, and I've seen it with other teams where they just get on top of you. Before Newcastle scored their goal, Bowen hit the post from outside the box. Yeah, and that really set the tone. So the goal in previous West Ham teams under Graham Potter, if that happens, the team then folds and it really, really becomes difficult for them to go back. But I didn't really sense that. And I think what was interesting about this is they played a relatively unknown player, a guy called Potts. He's through the academy. He played in the middle as like a CDM. Fernandez played to his right, and Paquetá played to his left. And I thought that's a really attacking team. Paquetá is not a sitting player. He's the one who's going to
No.
ping, he's going to create, and all the rest of it. But then when you saw how they set up, when they were attacking, Wan-Bissaka went really wide. Their other defender went really wide, and Paquetá's kind of created a C around the Newcastle players, which made it really hard for Newcastle to get out, for Gordon to push up, for Murphy to push up, for Waldemar to get any support if they did win the ball back. And it also meant that Paquetá came into the equation, which then led to his goal, which was beautifully taken. And I think just the way that Nuno set up the team was excellent. I'm not saying West Ham are back or go and invest or anything like that, or I'd be tempted. It's maybe a bit later on, but I think it warrants a mention that maybe at home West Ham are not going to be the whipping boys.
According to the stats, West Ham had 9 shots versus Newcastle's 4. West Ham had 2 big chances. XG of 1.75 versus 0.52. And I think most telling, we will use FPL data, not a single Newcastle
Mm,
player was even close to DEFCONs. And okay, they had
mm,
a lot more possession, but I think that says quite a lot, right? Newcastle away from home are just crap, and they have been for obviously St James Park is an incredible place, but away from home they're just pretty poor, and they have been for a while. I think I saw on Twitter how many games, and this was on Twitter, so if it's wrong, I do apologize. But Anthony Gordon hasn't scored in 18 games, and he
mm.
plays a bit
Well, in
in
the
the
Premier
Premier
League, but
League. Yeah, he scored in Europe,
yeah,
yeah,
in the
but in the
Premier League,
Premier
yeah,
League, yeah. I know he's my rogue
yeah.
shout last week, but
Mm.
that's why he was rogue. But that's pretty damning.
So Newcastle had 12 shots, 6 inside the box. West Ham had 15 and 9 inside the box. I agree with you. Newcastle weren't at the braces, but I do think that is partly to do with the fact that West Ham just tactically boxed them in to a
Yeah.
position which made it really, really hard for them to get out and actually make anything. But they did have more possession. They did look they created a few chances here and there. I mean, the head-to-head XG figures before this game, West Ham had an XG of 1 and Newcastle 3. But in the actual game, Newcastle had an XG of 0.7 and West Ham 2.7. So it really is it's a weird game in a way. But I think what it says to me is I'm not worried about Watermaid. I think he'll come back, although he did come off at 45. He came off at half time. But I wonder whether it brings some West Ham players into the picture,
Yeah.
into watch lists. Wan-Bissaka, I know he was the darling. Don't give me that
What's with you
face.
and
I know
Wan-Bissaka?
he was just hear me out, right? So firstly, he got 2 assists in this game. Because one of them was an own goal, I believe, and or maybe it was the one assist. But he made the pass in. He also got Defcons in there as well, but somehow no bonus. So I think he's one to watch, not one to buy.
Doesn't that say it all about Wan-Bissaka? Doesn't that really say it all about Wan-Bissaka?
What, that he's one to watch?
No, that he didn't get any bonus points at all. I mean, okay, fine. Pakataga has got a goal and maybe an assist as well, but like, come on.
Pakistan got a goal. He got a yellow card, but still managed to get free bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, he's class.
Anyway,
So
I completely disagree with you on that one, but sorry, go on.
yeah, so Wan-Bissaka, maybe put him in the watch. I'm not saying go invest. I want to make it really clear. Don't go invest in West Ham, but keep an eye out for Wan-Bissaka, for Paquetá, and I would say as well in the forward position. I think Bowen is up to second or something like that. No, he's fourth.
Yeah,
But Bowen's up there.
Still, that's
Bowen's up there.
shocking, by the way. All
Yeah,
the
and
the strikers in the league, take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah. So anyway, I think Bowen's worth a look at as well. But I wouldn't go invest now because I don't think they have the best run coming up. Oh, they got Burnley next, so but then they've got Bournemouth away, Liverpool at home, Man United away. Their fixtures don't really clear until the new year, and then they do have quite a nice run. But I was going to mention this at the end, but I'm probably going to free hit this week, and I think I would be considering putting a West Ham player in that free hit team because they got Burnley.
Fine.
But it would be the most West Ham thing in the world, right, to put that performance together against Newcastle and then play Burnley at home and lose.
Yeah.
That I think I'd be more tempted to play Fleming from Burnley than I would Bowen, but we'll see about that. But I think Newcastle win at the races. I think there's definitely something to be said about their away form. I wouldn't be put off owning any of their players. West Ham players, put them on the watch list. Have a look at them. Don't disregard them. I think West Ham at home could be a trickier fixture than most people think. So
why do the Newcastle fans say? Because all fans will be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna lose. Yeah, we're terrible." Like, it doesn't matter. Even Arsenal fans will be saying that. It doesn't. Even Real Madrid fans are prone to saying that about your own team. What was the pre-match analysis of this Newcastle fan?
So the problem with that, Stephen, is I was drunk, so therefore it was hard for me to remember.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well,
I think his general overview was more about their away form.
Yeah.
Their away form, for some reason, he couldn't really put his finger on it. Like when they just don't get up for a game in the same way. And I said to him, well, St James's Park, that's probably the reason. You get such energy from the crowd, like kind of the ball gets drawn into the net whilst you're there, right? And he said, yeah, but I think it's more than that. I think it's something about I don't know, the preparation or maybe the distance traveled, the fact, loads of different things. And they sound like excuses, but I think maybe there's like a concoction or cocktail of evidence and resources and things like that kind of lead to that. But broadly speaking, he said that they just don't always kind of be at the races unless it's the big games like Arsenal away, Chelsea away, things like that.
It's probably a mixture of things. One, they're in Europe, so that's taking its toll.
Yeah. Maybe the DEFCON thing is because no one wants to get injured. I don't know. Like that we're speculating here, but there are lots of things in there.
Tiny squad, tiny squad. All of their big signings haven't worked. Wissa is the outfit this season. Elanga, don't know what's happened there. He's lost his place to Jacob Murphy. Did you lose your place to Jacob Murphy? Actually, I'm being a bit harsh on Murphy. He really has become. He's actually become a Premier League player. Fair enough. Howe's really worked miracles there. But nevertheless, you don't want to say you lost your place to Jacob Murphy, do you? Who else did they? I mean, Voldemort was big money, but fair enough. He's worked out. They had another big signing as well. It hasn't worked out. Um,
Well, I'm quite surprised that he's kept Harvey Barnes out of the squad and out of the team because I really like Harvey Barnes, and every time
yeah,
he plays, he's quite a good impact player. So I would like to see him play a bit more. So Jacob Murphy's a good player, like I think we can say that now. He is a bit spenny from memory, and I think his place is more at risk with Harvey
yeah,
Barnes sort of waiting in the wings. But if Harvey Barnes got a run in the team, I would like him. I
yeah,
think he's a good
maybe.
player.
But I think look, they're crap away from home for one, maybe the travel, but I think fundamentally it's in Europe. But then again, if you are a Newcastle player, you're like, well, we've gotten into Europe. Are we going to do that again? Bournemouth are doing really well. City and Liverpool will eventually correct themselves. Even, and I have to say it, Man U have started looking all right. So if you are a Newcastle player, I could easily see why your head would drop going to a West Ham or a Brentford who they have next away. I understand that. They definitely have higher priorities. And again, as you said, St James's Park is a wonderful place to play football. So um I you probably shouldn't say this, you know, they're paid £1 million a day, they shouldn't always work hard, but come on, like I do sympathise with them because they're just like, well, why should we try that hard against West Ham? Worse when we have Let's Go Bilbao on Wednesday, sorry, and you know other bigger
Yeah,
fish to fry. Basically, I understand that. So, and what does that mean for an FPL? Again, well, do you really want to have Ultimali when you're just like, for example, he's got Brentford. I say he's got Brentford away next. You're like, well, okay. Then they're just like, well, actually, no. And then it's 7.5 million. Do you really want somebody in your team who like isn't going to shoot every week? Probably not. But then I guess, like, I suppose, what are the other options, right? You want to get a Danny Welbeck in. Is, you know, England's Danny Welbeck, maybe? I think own Newcastle player or own Voldemar. I have Teal as well, which I'm fine with. Just be very, very careful when they're away. If you can bench them away from
yeah. We
home, I would do so.
Okay, well, you've mentioned it. I think we're
Mm,
dragging on a bit, so I'll
mm,
try and go through this next game a bit quicker. I was
mm.
going to talk about Danny Welbeck, so the Brighton
Yeah,
Leeds game.
yeah.
Look, I think when Welbeck's hot, he's hot, right? He goes on these runs every season. Every season we see this, right? And I recommended this to James Henshaw before the game kicked off, and I was like, "It's Walter Maid or Welbeck?" And I think Welbeck's not a bad shout. He's got 3 returns in his last 4, including a double-digit haul as well. Brian have a decent run. It's also worth mentioning Minter had one of the games of his life in this game.
I've been saying
Like
Minter. I've been
he
telling you about Minter.
he we both have. We both
Mm.
have. Like, he got 2 assists in this game. No bonus. That's weird. But he also nearly scored as well. He just ran the show. He's such a good player. Worth mentioning as well, Gomez, who's about 5 million, got 2 goals. He was the guy that scored like 6 against Barnsley in the EFL Cup. Um, he's probably more a holding, so I wouldn't get him. I would probably be sticking on Xhaka if I owned. Um, but Leeds, I mean, they had the Verbrugge made 2 saves, and that was right at the end. Leeds looked toothless. They really did. They just can't score. And none of them got def cons. The highest on the bonus point system, the highest bonus points were given to Ampadu of 14, which
Right.
is really low. So yeah, Perry starting goal again for Leeds, so
Oh, I know.
that probably means
Hmm.
that Darlow is gone.
Yeah.
Wafer, he looks good, and Van Hecker got some bonus as well. But he's getting a couple of assists. Look, Brighton are a good team. We all know this, right? We all know that they have the ability to really turn up and play well. And given the fact they've got a nice run, I would be tempted. I would be tempted by Brighton. I think Welbeck and Minto are top of that list.
Minter's 6 million. It's just 500,000 more than you would
Quite
like on
high.
there. Yeah, but
Yeah,
nevertheless,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think he's interesting. He's on 47 points, which is pretty good. Welbeck's on 43. I think he's just behind Jared Bowen. And bear in mind, he didn't start the season. I think because he was injured. That's not too bad. Yeah, no, actually, Minter he's very very tempting. So Gomez, I'm not gonna lie, I'd never heard of him until he got those 2 goals. But I'm looking now, he's played actually a fair bit. I thought he'd taken Matoma's place because he's injured, but he started against
Mhm.
Wolves and didn't do anything. He's come on mainly as a sub. This seems to be one of it. Maybe started against Chelsea,
Yeah.
didn't do anything. Yeah, I think Minte. Look, he starts every week. Brighton do have a good run. I think he's interesting. I think just on Leeds though,
Hmm.
a bit like Newcastle. they're not going to bother away from home. I mean, unless they're playing, so they won at Molineux, didn't they? If it's a Wolves or it's a Burnley, they're like, right, that's 6 pointers, but they know full well they're not going to stay in the league. Same at
Mm,
Arsenal. Once the goal went in, they were just like, all right, lads, let's just go now. They're already back at Ellen Road, because they know
mm,
it's not going to matter if
mhm.
they lose at the Amex or or the Emirates or anything like that. So if they're playing a big team away, actually, if you have them at home. So, I mean, for example, is it a little bit like when you play Wolves at home for Leeds? It might be, you know. Let's have a look at their fixtures. So they've got Nottingham Forest away. They'll play well for that because again, it's a 6 pointer. Then
Yeah,
got Villa at home. They're great Ellen Road. Man City away. Erling, the
they'll give up.
Leeds
Yeah,
fans. Oh, why do I
triple
not have triple
captain
captain
Holland.
anymore? Why do I not have that chip anymore? God damn it, that would have been perfect. Um,
That's my week.
yeah, they've then got Brentford away, Sunderland away. They've actually got a pretty good home run, Leeds, actually. I think
Yeah.
if you have a Leeds player, I wouldn't be panicking too much. I think there's going to be 2 or 3 games that they're going to be terrible, but no, I'd say the next 8 to 10 game weeks they're going to still be giving a good count of themselves. But yeah, if they're playing like a mid-table or big club away from home, they are just not going to care. And fair enough, that's not why they're going to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree. So I think for Leeds, it's probably only defenders you want to own, and you probably only want to start them if they do have one of those home games, or a decent away game in which they could do some bits, and we'll go for it. And then in that situation, it's a Goodmanson or a Rondon, I think,
Mm,
probably, because they're so cheap and they can sit
yeah,
on your bench most of the season. I mean, the top scoring midfielder is Longstaff at 37 points, which is shocking. So yeah, I think that's probably it for Leeds, really.
yeah,
But Brighton, I would invest in. If I was looking for another striker, I think Weller's get him in. He's got Palace away next. That'll be obviously the M23 derby. But that'll be a good game. Then he's got Brentford at home. That's decent. I don't own any Brighton at the moment, but if I was looking at that, and I think probably within my free hit, I will get in a Brighton player for that game. Although Palace are a good team, we all know that.
yeah.
Um,
And Palace, I think Palace have really had that number over the last few years as well.
yeah, and it's at Palace as well, so I probably would only get a attacking player. Maybe I'd get Welbeck. But yeah, well, let's move on. You want to talk about Palace, didn't you?
Yeah,
What a good
just
transition! I didn't even
good
know it.
transition. Yeah, I'll just talk
Go
quickly
for
about
it.
them. Palace are very good, and Brentford are pretty mediocre. Basically, Kelleher was terrible again. Brentford had loads of possession, but didn't really do anything about it. Mateta's goal was excellent, Haaland-esque, essentially just really bullied and just like really, really good. I just wanted to say that Palace are good and get you should get Mateta into your team. I still have triple Palace again. I bottled starting Munoz. But yeah, make sure you have either Munoz or Gay and Mateta for their run
Hmm.
because from memory, Palace's run
Hmm.
is pretty nice, and Brentford is still pretty
Yeah,
mediocre and have come back crushed down to earth. As is Kelleher. That's all I want to say on that game quickly.
yeah, and it's worth mentioning that there were three players that got DefCons from Palace's side: Gehi, Kamada, and Lacroix, I think is
Hmm.
the French guy.
Yeah,
Obviously, Mateta got the goal, Collins the own goal, Lerma got 2 assists, which is insane.
yeah,
Mateta's run away with the full bonus there. I think it is triple Palace. I think
yeah,
my triple would be Gehi, Sarr, and Mateta. Although I think Munoz is a good option, but he's a bit more expensive. Mind you, Gehi's price rise, he's probably is about the same. Yeah, he's 5 million now, so probably the same price as a Munoz, I would have thought. So yeah, I think Palace are definitely a team to follow. Okay, cool. Well, I'll move on to the last game before we go into our middling rogue and bankers. And that was the Forest Manchester United game. So I was really worried that Spurs were going to be the team that have to stop this man from getting a haircut. But thankfully, for all involved, Diachetino has done it again. And really, I think that Forest played really well in this game. Look, I know that we were quite positive. Well, I was quite positive about Man United last game week. I still think there are some good signs there. I think they showed some structural rigidity. I think they showed some resilience, and they could have won the game. Ahmad, the volley was beautiful. Oh, what player! And he could have won it last minute at the end. Murillo cleared it off the line. So I think my takeaway from this would be Man United players. If you're owning, I would not be. It's particularly if I'm owning an Mbeumo or Cunha, I wouldn't sell. But I wouldn't invest. Forest. what's annoying about this game week is that everyone at the bottom play quite well. So now if I look at a fixture, so for some reason Everton and Sunderland are still green fixtures. They're not green fixtures. We know that. We
Yeah.
both can say that, right? But Forest at home is not an easy fixture, but it's listed as grey, I
Mm.
believe. But then they're bottom of the league or near the bottom of the league. I think the only team that we can all confidently say will be a team that we should target is Wolves now, and that's really
Well,
difficult.
who are getting a new manager in though, so even they are potentially
Yeah, but
not.
I mean, well, they had someone lined up and then he backed out.
Gary O'Neill, yeah, because all the fans
Yeah,
were
he said
like,
he'll go back and
"Why?"
he's backed out. So
Yeah.
it's just a complete drama at Molyneux. So look, don't go invest in Forest unless you're absolutely insane. But they do have Leeds next, and Leeds can't score. So therefore, you know, I don't know. I would be saying that we all know Dyche can play a really structured, decent style of football that will keep them competitive. So I don't think Forest is an easy fixture anymore. I don't think West Ham at home is an easy fixture anymore. And that means when you're free hitting, when you're wild carding, when you're looking at bankers, when you're going, well, they're definitely going to score, there aren't any definitely's anymore, I would say. And as a summary, the only definitely is we know that Haaland is going to score. Gabriel is probably going to get a return. That's it, really, isn't it?
That's actually why
I
I've
don't
gone
know.
off the free here because I was a bit worried about Arsenal playing Sunderland, but Sunderland last night weren't brilliant. Again, I know they're up against a very organised Everton team, but pretty turgid. So I don't actually mind having triple Arsenal away at the Stadium of Light anymore. And yeah, I don't know who the new manager bounce is getting in my head. Otherwise, I would be going for triple Chelsea. I would bring it. I mean, I'd actually bring in Garnacho on a free hit. That's the only acceptable time to ever bring him into your team. Um, yeah, no, I'm actually with you on that one.
Let's move on and talk about our bankers, middlings, and rogue. Do you want to kick us off? Do you have some ready to go?
I do. I'll say my banker is Timber. Very, very obvious reasons.
Mm.
Arsenal just keep clean sheets for fun. We're just dominating teams. Raya might as well be in the stands, doesn't have to do anything. It's looking very, very good for us. My middling is Granit Xhaka. Why? Why is he not getting any
Yeah,
love? I don't get it.
I
Like,
know, I
where
know.
He's 5 million for midfielders. Where is he? He's seventh-ish. He's
Mm.
just below. He's 3 points less than Salah, and he's about a third of the price. He's one off Njai. Mbembo has somehow snuck at 53, but we'll move past that. I don't understand why people aren't going for Granit Xhaka. Sunderland look very Premier Leaguey. He's doing well. He didn't need DEFCONs annoyingly against Everton, but he normally does. I think he's got some sort of return every week, bar one, and he's 1.1 million. He's a great player. Like, just I think it's a bit of a no-brainer personally, especially if you're now looking at Haaland Salah drafts, then he's very very important given that reindeers and Stack have dropped off. And my rogue Barry, I want to see if you can guess him because he's an ex Spurs player. So he used to be at Spurs. He's now at Fulham, but he's one of the few Fulham players that isn't from Arsenal.
Oh, Sessignon.
Sessignon. So he got a big haul
Yeah.
against Wolves. So take that with a massive, massive pinch of salt. But he's got Everton away, who've not been as good as they could be. Sunderland at home. I think that's okay. Tottenham away, Man City at home, Palace at home, Crystal Palace, i.e. Sessignon, who wants to get this move, will probably play really well in those games. And I just see him just being okay. He's very, very cheap. I can't remember what he's in the game. I think he's like 4.9 maybe or something. He's very cheap. And I think he could go. And he seems to have locked down his place now. I think he'll go on a bit of a run. Fulham
Yeah,
will
so
work for it.
Sessignon is listed as a midfielder in the game. He got
Hmm.
14 points in this game, like you said. But he's 5.4 million, so he's pretty cheap. And he's got a decent run, so I don't mind that shout. I quite like it. Although, as you will say, and I hate agreeing with you, Fulham are Fulham, and they do love to sit back and not do much. Um,
Only when they're
so
playing,
so
only when
yeah,
they're playing small teams, but they've actually got difficult teams now. And do you know
cool.
what, Barry? Sessignon, welcome to the team.
Brilliant. Great work. Fantastic. Love to see it. Okay, cool. So my banker, I've mentioned him before. It's Wellers. Get him in. He's had a couple of returns. When he goes on a hot streak, he just stays hot. And the caveat to that is he will only get a couple of hauls, i.e., 10 plus points, in an entire season. He's already had one or two, so maybe he might not get more. But he'll tick along at 8, 6, 7 points. Probably I can see him getting 3 or 4 returns in the next 5, which is decent for the 6.3, 6.4, and he's very low owned actually. I think I don't know exactly what his ownership is, but I can imagine it's not going to be more than 10%. Let me quickly check.
I'll look at it.
No, I've got it. Yeah, 8.1% owned. So yeah, really, really cheap and really good value. My middling is Morgan Gibbs White. Right now, let me talk you through it.
I like
his
it.
Goal,
I like him as a player. I do.
His goal was beautiful. It was a header, which is very obscure for probably one of the shortest men on the pitch. But it was a lovely header into the corner. Really beautiful play. I think he fits really well into a Dyche team because he can play just off the striker, but then it adds as an extra midfielder. So then he's likely to get defcons to be responsible for defensive duties and things like that. But then on the break, he can be the one that's creating. A bit like what Nuno did, right? Under Nuno, Morgan Gibbs-White was like bloody Xavi, but Dyche is a similar type of manager. Therefore, I think you can get a similar type of result. He's quite expensive, but he'll be very low owned. He's only scored 1 goal. Yeah, he's only scored 1 goal all season, so that's why he's middling. But he does have Leeds next, and if I do hit my free hit, he is going to be in the team.
Yeah.
And
generally their run isn't terrible. It's not brilliant, but it's not terrible either. The next
it's not terrible.
So.
And then my rogue shout, and I want you to hold yourself, Stephen, as best you can.
Okay.
Right? It's a Man United player. Casemiro.
Christ on a bike. Really?
So for those on the audio, Stephen looks like I've shot a deer in front of him. So let me talk you through it.
Which, by the way, should be happening to Casemiro. He's an old man. He needs to be put down. Like, come on, mate. Christ almighty.
So he got 12 points against Forest. Got 15 points against Brighton. He nearly could have scored a couple of other times as well. So he's looked good in that respect. Man United do have a good run. Tottenham away, Everton at home, Palace away, West Ham at home, Wolves away. He is 5.5 million. He's 0.7% owned. He's rogue because he can easily be benched and come off at 60 or even the half time. And also because, as you said, he is an old man. But if you're looking for a really rogue shout, I think I like it.
I mean, so he to his credit, he got defcons against Brighton and Forest. I don't remember his goal against Brighton, but his XG was 0.02, so it must have been an absolute screamer or deflected to death. XG of 0.22 against Nottingham Forest. I unfortunately haven't had time to see that game, the highlights, so I gotta know what that goal was. But either way, he ain't doing that every week. When he's played 90 minutes, he is getting defcons, but he's not playing every week. Like he's fatter than me. He's fatter than me. Like no. He's also on 42 points, but that's off 27. So in other words, before these last 2 games, I know he's already banked the points. He was on nothing. So, Barry. Barry. I mean, it's rogue. I will concede that it's rogue.
I mean, Stephen, you've criticised me many, many times for not being rogue enough. I think
I fair enough.
To sort of say that this is as rogue as they come.
It is.
So yeah, okay. Well, let's wrap it up there. I think, as per a request by a listener, viewer, and fan, we should look at the league. And I think he's requested this because he's top of the league. Yes, Thomas Charlton of the English Riviera, that is Torquay. Congratulations with your 90 points, you jammy bastard. But I will point out, it's only 30 points between him and 10th. So it's a really tight league. Really good to see this season. But I'm sure he's be chanting at some point, top in game week 10, you'll never sing that. So congratulations to Tommy C. You've already made your transfer, Stephen. Do you have any other transfers? Any other shocking
I've
moves you're
bitten
gonna
the
make?
bullet. I've bitten the bullet and just done Dala to Dubravka. I've had because at some point I need to bench boost. So yeah, it's a very
Yeah,
boring transfer. And also Groves has Sunderland as Arsenal at home. Sorry, and I'd rather have Dubravka away at
yeah.
West Ham. So I'll just do it now.
Fair. Cool. And I'm going to be hitting the free hit. I've sent a one draft to you. I'm going to do a couple more over the week. But yeah, all to say is good luck for game week 11. Remember, it's just a game. Enjoy yourselves. Show us your drafts. Thanks to Rita for helping us with the editing. And thank you for listening. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.